once you plan to start building an IoT device or an IoT ecosystem, it's really clearly important to understand what kind of threats you're going to be able to expect out there and how you're going to build your security based on what those specific threats are. One of the things that we see a lot is that when we interact with customers for the first time, they're afraid that we're going to come in and try and deliver the Fort Knox of security to them when all they're really worried about is protecting one piece of data in an application. So in order to prevent that from happening, you first have to understand what are the business risks that are specific to you as a company and to your project. And then what are the high priority assets within your IoT ecosystem that require protection? And then once you've identified threats to those things, now what's the likely level of effort required to execute on one of those exploits? So if, for instance, a student could do it, then you're going to have to be worried about putting protections in place against that. If it would require a high-level university lab in order to attack your device, then if the value of what you're actually delivering there isn't very high, let's say sensor data in an agricultural context where a single sensor being hacked doesn't really represent a difficulty to your business model, then you wouldn't necessarily want to put protections in place to deal with that if the cost isn't justifying the value there. You also want to think about the impact of what would happen if that threat came true, and then you can start thinking about, okay, how would I mitigate that? And the model that we use to do that in our IoT security labs is the STRIDE model, which was originally developed by Microsoft, where we look at what are the key ways that people are able to break into systems, and then what is the likelihood of that happening, the impact of that happening, and how that can be mitigated. So these are well-developed and well-known models that you yourself can look up and use. But if you want help with that, and especially if you need this kind of exercise as a first step towards independent third-party evaluation and certification, then that's something that we could do and work with you on in order to prepare for you to be successfully certified by whatever body is relevant to your particular industry. So assess and understand your threats.